Hi friends, welcome to the Teachers Lounge podcast, Teach, Lead, Inspire. Ben Heckathorn here, your host and source of things chattable in the education space. Well, probably a little bit late in the year of 2025 to say Happy New Year, but hey, here we are, deep into March. Now, I've got a bumper edition today, and the title basically sums it all up. Just an update on the Teachers Lounge, my goals for it, how you can help, a bit of a Ben update, tune in, tune out. There's a little bit of self-processing here from me as well, and a bit of a vision for the year for the Teachers Lounge. So yeah, that's it. Nice short intro. So let's pat this puppy and learn some new tricks. And if you're also listening and not in the Teachers Lounge, Teach, Lead, Inspire Facebook group, pause, find that, jump in and join in the edgy chats. So yeah, sit back, join me on the lounge and let's chat stuff. All right, so the podcast is back, baby. And yes, I know it took a while, and there's a few things I just want to unpack in this. So firstly, it's just basically apologizing and just recognizing what I call paralysis by analysis. Now, I've mentioned it before, and I'm a deep sufferer of this. So essentially just a sincere acknowledgement that I do overthink things and it delays things such as episodes. And it's actually just a reminder that sometimes you just need to get started. Now, if you've been listening last year, and this would be season 2 this year, you'll know that I do enjoy a decent single barrel bourbon. So a couple of weeks ago, after a decent tumbler or two, it kicked my brain into gear and here we are, back on the train. Now, lessons from this. So sometimes teachers can be chronic overthinkers, and leaders can, or anyone really can, and it can significantly hold you back from growth. Now, this is an encouragement for all the educators out there. Just take imperfect action. Whether it's in your teaching or leadership or other personal projects, maybe there's a behavior strategy you've been mulling over, or give it a try. Maybe there's an excursion or camp you've been sitting on for a couple of years. Just stop analyzing. Just book it in. Maybe it's a change of school, or to throw your hat into the leadership ring. Pump yourself up and have a crack. So stop your version of paralysis by analysis. So yeah, essentially just a bit of an apology, and it's taken a while, but we are back on the train. And I've got a bit of a scope I'll share out a bit later as well, but also just a bit of a personal update. Some of you know me personally, some of you know me vicariously, some of you just Ben's that weird guy on this weird Facebook group. I'm a real person, and I have a real job, and this is real stuff as well. So just a personal update about me. I did drop in the group that, yes, I've got a new job, and it's taken a bit to ease into that. But essentially last year I was working with a system of independent schools up here in the Territory, and my role was to set up a teacher traineeship program of sorts. There's a lot of moving pieces with school mentors, university partnerships, principals being on board, benefits to those actually in the traineeship, and placing the actual job of these trainees being a teacher aide while studying. It's very complex, but that's what I was doing. So pioneered that here in the Territory with 5 trainees, and I've passed the baton onto a colleague who also lives and breathes mentoring and initial teacher education. So what happened? Basically, I found a new job. Essentially, I'll leave names and stuff out of it, but doing the same thing but bigger. So a territory-wide leadership role with a national focus for training and equipping new teachers. So it gets a bit tricky. Now, I've shifted out of what we call educational institutions, which is like just school-based, to what I would call impact work, which is charity-based. So even though I stepped out of traditional education institute or schools into the charity space, I'm still working towards quality education for every child, which is part of the vision and mission of this particular charity. Now, instead, I'm more or less in the driver's seat to, and I love this word, intentionally support, mentor, and lead new teachers. Now, I was chatting to a friend in Tassie. Anyone from Tassie here? I know there's at least one listener, so shout out to Yahoo. I was chatting with a Tasmanian friend, and we kind of landed on this concept of what we call season and impact. And he was like, Ben, yes, schools need teachers in front of students, but this work that you're doing, it's driving a momentum that sees the teachers that we have trained, equipped, and supported for a longer term sustainment. So if you're in the class, this wouldn't be happening. So this is your season to step up and kind of chip in this way. And I took that and I kind of fell at peace with that because there's a little bit of guilt mixed in with, I should be in front of the kids. I'm a really great teacher at doing this and running this. Good at coordinating these things. But no, I just feel it's definitely my season to be doing this other stuff, which is growing, leading, and nurturing initial teachers. And it's a really fantastic space. So now I focus on supporting teachers who are teaching while they're studying their masters. So they're basically the people I work with, they've come in from another career pathway, or they could have had like a science degree, or they've come in from journalism, and they're wanting to get their education degree through the Master of Teaching, not Education. So we call it the M-Teach. It's like, M-Teach. Is the the slang in the academic world. Just ensuring that they're equipped to thrive in the classroom. And so like these people are coming in brand new, and they're trying to figure out on the fly this behavior management, classroom ebbs and flows, and what it's like to live by the bell, and toilets and all that stuff we talked about last year. And on top of the direct school support, like from principals and in-school mentors, I come in with more instructional coaching methods and just add another layer of support for them to kind of powwow or nut through, this one student, and work with them through that. And so there's this concept called education beyond the classroom. Now, this new role that I have really still aligns with my passion for education, but just from a different angle. Now you've, I don't know, maybe entered the thought realm of, maybe I should leave teaching, but you're going to find a million social media threads like leave teaching and smile or beyond the classroom. And the common question is, what can I do that's like teaching, but instead of teaching? Now, I'm not going to go into this now, but I have actually spent the better part of 6 years grafting a pathway, not out of teaching per se, but to step into this more leadership coaching and teacher support space. And as I was preparing for this podcast, I just jotted down a little bit of a sequence over that 6 years. So a bit of a trajectory of, when I first decided to step more into this coaching space and kind of ease or transition my way out of teaching. So what I wrote down was I stepped into curriculum sales and an online curriculum development company. I also started a business, like an actual ABN and not sole trader, but a company, and took on some grant writing work as well. So writing grants, and I was able to network nationally with different charities. I actually had a different podcast, which I stopped, called Championing Charity, just highlighting charities and CEOs and the great work that they did. Through that, I also started an MBA, so a Master of Business Administration, and also I'm a glutton for punishment, completed a graduate diploma in community development, so building how to build community. I got some coaching certification as well, #Giant Worldwide. They run 5 voices. It's what are they called? The like psychometrics, and how people tick, and developing effective leaders, and how to work cohesively and effectively as a team. So that was great. Dabbled in some part-time teaching, CRT or ERT work. just in a bunch of different school settings, which I found was quite important to network and just see how different schools, whether it's independent or government, whatever, do schooling. I just generally involve myself with education research and put myself in the ecosystem of like government, basically, and different education associations. And essentially, most recently, just made up my own job, basically, for the teacher traineeship program. I got it approved by this network of independent schools, and yeah, that's it. So I do want to say, like, this beyond the classroom or leaving teaching and smile. It's not an on the shelf career pathway. Well, at least in my experience, it's been a gradual and intentional and strategic positioning. And hey, sorry, this is actually really great self-reflecting for me here as well. So thank you for just listening and bearing with the journey of Ben. So in a snapshot, yeah, that's a little personal update, and it kind of does flow into the podcast here as well, which is a great segue because I don't just run and facilitate and have a great idea of a podcast. I've actually got some goals and plans, and I want to see it go places because some feedback that I've had, not all feedback, it's been quite positive and reinforcing and just encouraging of educators. And I just want to hold on to that. So a few goals for 2025 for the Teachers Lounge podcast. I'm just going to point and shoot here. As I said, I do plan for these. I write down some stuff. Some stuff just like now just comes off the cuff, and you can probably pick up on when Ben's going off script and when he's going on his points. But I'm just going to point and shoot these goals that I have. One, just to be accountable to you and myself. This is out on the line. It's online, so it's there, so I can be held accountable to it. So while I'm shooting, maybe grab those bullets and ask, can I help Ben reach any of these goals? So there's 5 that I've written down. So number 1 is I'd love to drop at least 20 episodes. So I did 10 last year, and it's a commitment. It needs to be consistent, and I just want to create an engaging EduChat content, basically, that supports teachers. So the stuff we don't really get the chance to kick around, it's in all my intros. And in general, just hopefully engaging, thought-provoking stuff. Like, you can hear this and then bring stuff back to your own school environments and, chat about it. So I'd love at least 20 episodes this year. So far, this is 1. I have a sponsorship goal as well. It's very frustrating, but I'd love to secure a sponsor, and yes, I'll keep plugging that little tacky Amart little plug in the middle of the episodes. Right, here's a new little segment for a quick sponsor grab. I'm actively looking for a show partner to come on board the wild ride of the Teachers Lounge, maybe Amart. That would be funny. But meanwhile, please punch a 5-star on Spotify and jump into the Facebook group Teachers Lounge, Teach, Lead, Inspire, and, like all the posts, throw some comments, questions in, that'd be great. But this is a space for a sponsor to jump in and really support and sponsor and drive the show forward. Yes, welcome back. Sorry, that was just the perfect spot for it there. So yeah, a sponsorship goal, you'd have your little plug in the middle there, and yeah, it would just alleviate some of the costs that are there for running a podcast, which is like the platform, some equipment, maybe even again a great segue, getting a podcast producer. The dream that I have is a 17-year-old audio wizard who lives off V and Monster and coffee. You can just cut out my ums and ahs in like 20, 30 minutes instead of me and my multi-hour perfectionism, just struggle week to week. It's like, where are you? And maybe you're a parent of a 17-year-old and go, hey, my kid needs $25 or something, throw him my way. I'll send him the files and just chop them up and mix all the bits together, and boom, podcast number 1. No, in all seriousness, getting a podcast producer is on the cards there. Yeah, happy to pay as well. Number 4, I would love to expand the Facebook group. If you're not in it, the Teachers Lounge, Teach, Lead, Inspire. It's there, nice, lovely blue logo. Yeah, to get 1,000 members in there. Not just growing numbers, but fostering a thriving teacher community full of discussion, support, and engagement. And number 5 is just more genuine. So it's just encouraging meaningful teacher conversations. So I do want this space and podcast to really motivate educators to the 3 things: teach well, lead themselves effectively, and inspire others in the process. So that's the goals for 2025. I really hope the December podcast will reflect that. So 20 episodes, show sponsor, podcast producer, and 1,000 Facebook members. Really engaged and all that. So, yeah, just kicking on, a bit of an encouragement and motivation, I suppose, coming out of that. So, my new stuff, 2025 podcast stuff, just looking at a bit of a vision. And again, I've written some things down. So I've got 4 points here. Yep, take it as a motivation or encouragement for you. So number 1, teachers matter more than ever. So just a reminder for yourself and me that teachers shape the future in ways that they might not even realize yet. And so this is you. Like, the jobs we're inspiring this generation for are likely not even created yet. Like, just think about AI. Like, who 10 years ago would have thought, and like, here we are. Like, there's people programming ChatGPT and AI and creating teacher resources, linking at, like, who would have even thought that 10 years ago? But hey, through the process of education, we have grown kids to be inquisitive and problem solvers, etc., and they're doing these jobs. There's also leadership roles we're developing, like children's self-awareness for in these leadership roles. And a lot of schools that I'm in a lot, and I see kids that are just not self-aware. They just don't think of themselves. They don't think of others. More selfish approach. And they don't have an awareness, which is a number 1 leadership quality, being self-aware. Like, what are your tendencies? What are your actions and reactions? And leadership is actually next week's spoiler alert podcast topic. So I'll tap probably more into that. So teachers matter more than ever. You matter more than ever. Number 2 is, and this is much of a motivation for me, but face this year with purpose. So whether you're trying new classroom strategies or processes, or maybe step up to mentoring a colleague or like a new teacher, or maybe refining a work-life balance, this is your year to thrive. Don't just kind of survive and get to the end of the term and like collapse for a couple of weeks and then punch back on. No, thrive. So for me, it's kicking ass at my new job, like not getting stuck in this paralysis state, and like being an ever-present dad and husband as well. So they're just 3 I'm facing this year to be kick-ass at my new job. Don't get stuck in paralysis. Just punch on and be present. And I think those little things are going to, be a very purposeful year. Number 3 is sustain a career in education. Now, who are you going to surround yourself with? And again, this word pops up intentionally, to stay inspired, avoid burnout, and make your career in education fulfilling, but for the long haul. So, answer these questions. Is principalship on your radar in the next few years? Is maybe being a coordinator on the radar for this year, next year, or the year after? How about post-grad study? Like, who's going to be your champion? Find that person and get into bed with them. Sorry, that's definitely the wrong euphemism. So just find that person who's going to be your cheerleader, your cheer squad. Yeah, so what are they? Have a think of that 5-year plan. What are you going to do to position yourself to sustain a career in education? And mentoring, can I say, is one of those key ingredients, as in being mentored. And the last one is number 4, is for encouragement and motivation. Set a challenge. I'm a very big advocate of what we call like 1%ers. So find something that's small but actionable. Maybe it's one new thing to improve your practice this term, or a habit to refine for personal or professional growth. It could be getting up earlier to exercise, or drinking more water, or giving more gratitudes through the day. It could be like practical, like cutting out socials after 8 o'clock. I don't know. Whatever that 1%er is, you can do to, quote, quote, 1% up your effectiveness as a person. Do that. Sorry, that got a little bit motivation like, but hey, that's where we are, just setting the 2025 vibes. So as I said, it's going to be a super short one, this one, just to ease back into it. And, I'm probably going to spend 5 hours editing this, but a little teaser popping up for at least this semester. So I've had a bit of feedback and I've taken it on of things that people just want to hear about, or just dialogue. And so things that have popped up are, leadership. That I could spend the entire year doing that, but just to save boredom and tuning out, I'm going to mix it up. So leadership, things like voice care, PE games, like what do we do? We've got 10 minutes to kill. Try these games outside. Like discussion of pencil cases between shared stationery in the classroom, or this is my stuff. Like what's philosophies on that? There's a really good one I've been pinged on, which is effective literacy teaching with EAL students, particularly with an NT context. And I've got a couple guests in for that, and I've got some really great teachers able to share stories of just their remote teaching experiences. So now, of course, if you have any episode requests or guest suggestions, hit me up. Like I'm not this elusive, thing in the cloud. I'm here in the territory. I'm here on socials, and I've got an email address and phone number. So just get in contact. I actually want to be somewhat led by what you guys want to hear. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed that. Just a bit of an update, bit of a plan for the Teachers Lounge, some goals, and basically just getting back on the horse here. So be encouraged too. Like if you've got goals that you have shelved and they're gathering dust, it could be post-grad study. Pull it off, see where it takes you, and of course answer this question: why not? Well, that's it. I'm done. Back in next week to round up term 1. And go do well. There we go. Thanks for listening to this episode release of the Teachers Lounge podcast. I really do hope you've enjoyed the dialogue. The information discussed today was just that, information only. It's not specific advice. If you take action on something you've heard today, it's important to make sure that you get professional advice about your unique situation before you proceed, whether that advice be legal, financial, accounting, medical, or otherwise. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, or if there is anything I can do to support your teaching or leadership journey, whether it's another topic you'd like discussed or one-to-one support. If you do know someone that would benefit from listening to this episode, please remember to tell them about it, share the episode with them, or connect us on socials. I trust you're encouraged in your role, your leadership aspirations, and your ability to serve and inspire. And that's it. Go do well.